Now listening to The Joint Committee.
So anyways, what our show is about is
Alright, I think, yeah.
the three of us are all, I mean, we all grow for what we do.
Okay.
So we kind of just like teamed up and we're kind of just, we've just been talking about what we do because a lot of people are interested in what we do.
Yeah.
So we've just been trying to bring to light the real life of cannabis, not the shadows.
Given all those bills are rolling.
What it's really about.
Yeah, what we're really trying to do, and it's not all about fucking selling bags and making money. It's real life, our real lives of what we
For
do
the
every
people,
day.
for everyone.
Yeah.
For everyone.
And obviously, you're
To
a real
repair,
patient,
right.
and so people like you have stories that are true and very educational, especially people that don't even understand what we're really trying to do with this culture. They think we're just trying to get high.
And it's a matter of wellness and well-being.
Absolutely.
It's a huge lifestyle change,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, so it's called The Joint Committee, and we're back.
yep.
No one bad.
I'm Mr. Bond. We got Lupino in the house.
East
Yep.
Amsterdam.
We have some special guests with us tonight.
We have a special guest, and she's a patient of mine, and for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been battling epilepsy. Well, she's been battling it. I've just been trying to help her. So we're gonna find out a true story about, growing up with epilepsy
Absolutely.
and, all the ups and downs and all the stuff you've had to deal with between all the doctors and all the different medications you've been on. And, yeah, so, I mean,
Start from the beginning.
Yeah,
You
let's
told me
see.
you were
yeah, how old?
you were diagnosed since you were 3.
Yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. I guess I woke up and started to complain again and again that I had a funny feeling that I used to report I had a funny feeling all the time, and became a concern, and my parents had it checked, and
That's crazy how you
the
do it
doctors
that
say
young.
that I was epileptic after some testing, and they've been, they never knew what the cause was. They tested and tested, and they always reported that, yes, you are in fact epileptic, but everything else is normal. Well, that's all great, but they never knew what exactly the cause was. They knew what the effects were, but they never knew what the origin was to my epilepsy. They
Right.
still don't.
So it wasn't, there's no family history of
There was
it.
no family history. There was no pregnancy that didn't go right. I was never in a car accident. There was no history in either side of the families. So
It just
it
started.
just started at age 3. So, and it's still going, but it's going in a completely positive direction now.
That's good.
So when you're that
Yes.
young,
Ugh.
when you're that young, what's the treatment? What do they do
Well,
for you? Is there
Medication was the only thing that they were treating it with, and they are mostly treating it with now, but it was an abundance of medication. It was, days and days, years and years of side effects.
Well, yeah, because you're 43 now, right? So 40 fucking years.
right?
Yeah.
So as a 3-year-old, they were pumping you up with pills, like lots of pills. I know you don't know exactly when you were 3 what you were taking, but so your parents had to put pills down a baby's throat, or was there what type of, I don't know. what
Well,
kind of
I'd say that
medications
my
there
parents
were.
definitely watched my every move from the time I was a kid till, and I was plenty of years before they stopped keeping their eye on me, I like to say that my mother never, I'd have to say she always slept with like one eye open,
Oh, I'm sure. it
so to
was-
speak.
yeah.
My bedroom door was always slightly open,
Yeah.
just to always make sure everything was okay, because my seizures always happened in the evening. It was primarily always in the late hours. But
So
I had
You
this
said
one.
it.
I had this one. My niece.
it's continuous.
Like my, it's kind of like she's more like second. I'm just saying she's my niece. I think she was 8, and she was actually staying with us for like a few weeks for the summertime. You know, just family, just like that. And we knew that she used to have, you know, she was epileptic and she had a lot of seizures. But I read up on it, you know, just kind of like just get some sense of like that. But I never actually experienced it. And she actually went through a full epileptic episode. And you know, I'm trying to like keep her conscious, talk to her, you know, like, oh, you know, what do you want some ice cream later? You just kind of like to keep her going, you know, all the way right to the hospital while I'm holding her in my arms. I mean, I was like, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm trying to keep calm, like my face, but in the back of my mind, I'm like scared and freaking out in a sense, to think about, you know, children these days. And of course, you know, they had really like her the medication she had, the side effects would keep her sleeping most of the day,
Right.
and then when she was up, she wasn't really there. You know, it was just
Yeah.
like just kind of spacey.
Fatigued, very
Mhm.
fatigued, definitely. Oh, the side effects of medications can be, in some cases, lifelong. Maybe they say short term. Short term is not short term in any way.
Absolutely not.
No,
So-
it can actually be
They don't know.
very, oh God, long term in some cases. It
Have
took
you-
doctors sometimes up to a year to wean me off of one medication.
What was like the worst type of symptom you had from any of these medications, if you even remember?
They once thought I need, as small as this may sound, my eyes would blurred badly enough that I thought I needed glasses. That may sound minor, but if it changes your vision that much, to think that a doctor needs to order you glasses,
right.
that's small, in fact, of what most drugs can do to you too. I mean, they stopped marketing one of my medications for a while because it was causing some kind of anemia.
Oh, great.
Um,
And then they give you another fucking pill for that.
Exactly.
Is it I don't know, why is that so common with like they're trying to cure one thing but they're actually giving you something else?
Right.
I think like what's the
Yeah.
most common now, anal leakage. It's just
Oh, Jesus.
unbelievable.
I'm
in
curious.
most cases, I was on at least 3 to 5 medications, no less than. This is the least
That's horrible.
amount of medication I've ever been on, and been on up to 21 pills a day in some cases.
21 pills a day.
Wow.
Yes,
What-
not prescriptions, pills, but that has to be, like I said, at least 3 times a day.
Right,
I mean,
taking 6 different
Right.
prescriptions 3 times a day,
Right.
some of them 4
Yeah.
times a day.
I would have my mother ask me, Valerie, did you take your medication? I mean, now I'm glad that she was behind me 24/7,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but oh God,
Now I'm curious.
definitely keep you on your feet.
I'm curious because I've never had a seizure before, and I'm sure a lot of people who are going to listen to this have never had one. What is the onset of it? What exactly do you feel? Is there like any type of lapse in time? Do you not even? Are you unconscious? Can you hear
No,
what's going on?
I'm not unconscious. There are different seizure types. So mine are what they call partial complex. But I am not unconscious. I kind of fade in and out, I would say. Feel a little you definitely feel disoriented, to say the least. But I do have a little aura now. I had almost no aura.
What do you mean by aura?
Aura meaning I could pick up like a remote control or something like that and just throw it just as like a warning, and
Right, you have
Chris
some.
would say, Val, you alright? Well, if I don't answer,
Yeah.
he knows something's off.
Right.
Because he already heard the remote and I didn't answer.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
Huh.
before I'd just be walking down the street and tip over like a pin. There would be no one to get a wall,
Right.
you know?
And how long would it last for? If
Or how long do they last for? I mean, are
I
they?
know it varies, right?
They vary.
Yeah, they
of,
vary.
Like
They vary.
like a minute, 30 seconds to a couple minutes.
Well, they could be different with because I also with the medication and the marijuana, I have what they call a vagus nerve stimulator implant,
Okay. Yep.
and if how should I describe what it is it's a magnet implant.
Mhm.
So when I do have a seizure, you would take the wrist magnet like this one and almost wand it up against the magnet that's implanted.
Okay.
Works like a positive and a positive
Right.
would
Right.
stop the seizure.
No
With that
kidding. Really.
Stimulator.
Now, once they
For those people, obviously, you can't see. What she has is a type of bracelet, almost looks almost like a Fitbit, and what she would do, kind of wave it across her chest,
Right here.
and it would
Next to her shoulder blade.
next to shoulder blade, and it would end up activating to kind of like calm down the seizures and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
stop.
And what was that called
Like
again?
right out of
A
it,
vagus
Right
nerve
out of it.
stimulator.
Vagus nerve stimulator.
If you didn't use it, like let's say nobody in the room knew what it was or even that it was there,
I'm glad you told
They
us.
wouldn't.
I wouldn't get
I
injured
got that one.
if you didn't use it. It would just take a lot longer
Right. Okay.
for the seizure to stop. But I'm not having seizures that frequently. That's the best part of all
And
this.
you said you said
You know,
before
that's the
that
best
you
part
were
of all this.
you said you were at one every 18 hours, pretty much. At one point back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
so what
And
was
then cannabis kind of. You think cannabis
This
kind of
is-
got it down to
down
marginal?
to probably somewhere like to 7, maybe a month.
Oh shit.
so was there? What was there like?
Huge difference.
Do you remember like that kind of like, fuck it moment to where, or just like aha moment where you said you knew that cannabis
Well, let's.
actually.
I'd rather still go back to her childhood and bring it all the way up through all the different doctors and all the different things she's had to hear to form that opinion. Because I mean, they must have been telling you some crazy shit. I mean, you've had this list of medications.
Well, that's the thing. They were
gigantic.
probably telling her nothing because they didn't even know.
Yeah,
It was
they were
just
guessing.
test after
It's
test
just
after
a lot of
test.
Over the
just
years,
throwing
you got
darts
that
like they do with a lot of
medicine
stuff.
Definitely got better.
Yep.
I mean, compared to now. I mean, I'm not going to give medicine the big
Credit.
D, but I'm not going to. Now, I've seen a lot of advances in medicine too. I'm not going to say that
Oh, yeah.
medicine didn't
Oh,
do anything.
Absolutely, it's
But
definitely.
I'm going to say that.
We're not anti-medicine here.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
bad.
no, no.
But,
Definitely not. I'm
I
not
mean, this
either.
list of pills.
It's just amazing to see the advances.
Yeah, there's got to be
And
30
this is
fucking pills.
the
in
biggest
there.
advance too. What Joe is offering, you know,
Right.
this was the. I have to say, right now, at where I am now in my health, I've never had so little seizures. This is a huge advance.
Yeah.
It
And
really
absolutely,
is.
that's a plan.
It really is. It's a huge advance for me.
That's awesome. It's good to hear
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So all right. So.
So growing up,
when-
what did was it tough to obviously have friends and do all that kind of stuff? School must have been.
Yeah, school was definitely difficult.
Yeah.
School was difficult. School was probably more difficult, maybe like in my high school.
Right. Because
And
back
I
then.
totally like dragged college out way too long.
Right.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I was like doctors during
Right.
the college age.
Yeah.
Because that's when I was with the huge group in Boston doctors. Boston doctors, and I'll say excellent doctors. I was with a group at the Boston Children's Hospital, excellent group of doctors, and then later with a group in Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston.
Yep.
But after years and years of testing again, they thought that I would have been a candidate for corrective surgery. So what we did later was we had like, if you can imagine what an EEG is, it measures brain waves.
Yeah.
People out there know what an EEG is? Well, they did like, the easiest way I could explain the surgery is, what they did was an EEG, but they put the grids rather than on your head, they put them on your brain.
Oh boy.
That's how big the surgery was. That's just what it was. It was called like a subdural,
Yeah.
cranial, subdural. I don't know the exact medical term for it, but that's just what it was.
That's
Rather
not-
than putting the EEG grids here,
Yeah, that's in
they
going
went
in your head.
and actually put the grids on and wrapped me up for about, I think it was about 17 days, and studied this every second or every
Whatever your brain was doing.
whatever your brain was
Yeah.
doing, because they had to pinpoint the area and see if I was a good candidate for surgery. But in fact, I was not. After like the 15th day, they said, you know what, something's changed, and you are not having corrective surgery. So it was like the biggest letdown
What-
after like 6 years of testing. But,
What changed?
well,
Couldn't fire.
something like it was firing from all, they found something like, it wasn't firing, the seizure wasn't firing from one place. If you could imagine, it was like a firework. It didn't start in like point A and end in point A. It started like in point A and ended like in B, C, D, and E.
Yeah,
Right.
scatter.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what's
So
going
they
on.
saw that, stop the
They-
works.
Right, they can't.
We're not doing this anymore.
They're not that advanced yet.
Yeah, so
And
it sounds like they were
anytime,
experimenting.
anywhere,
Yeah.
if there was even like anything out of place on the 15 days of studies in that kind of a surgery, they weren't gonna just say,
Right,
oh, well,
yeah, that's
she looks pretty today.
Exactly.
Let's, you know.
Yeah, they would need it to come from one point, because if they're just trying to experiment,
Yeah, they have a theory, and they have a theory how to fix that thing.
and
Yeah,
somebody-
right.
So if it's not that specific type of seizure,
Yeah, this wasn't
it
like
doesn't
the-
work.
Right.
So like, well, we can't
Exactly.
do
Now,
it.
have you?
It's still
Well,
yeah.
never
letdown,
had
and
any.
that's like, oof.
You've never had any
So
grand
they
mal
did.
seizures, have you? Or is that
You know, I don't think so.
okay?
No, I don't think so. Definitely not. I wasn't ever diagnosed with grand mal seizures.
Okay.
No,
Because I know those are like
no.
really bad. Like, there was one little girl I saw on. I think the mom was on Hash Church.
No, the ones that,
It was like one
if
every.
I do have one, it
couple
usually
hours.
kind of looks like as if my arms are opening and closing, like almost like in an accordion
Mm-hmm.
motion.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And
Yep.
what Chris describes to me is that my eyes flutter. That's how I already set off like a signal to him that something
That's
is off.
yeah.
When
Well, at
someone
least
is
that's
looking,
there.
Red
You know what I
flag,
mean?
yeah.
To,
If my eyes
and it's
flutter,
a good thing
so,
you know you have
and then
him
if he
too.
talks to me and I don't answer, well then he knows that something's even more off.
Right,
And trying
right.
to like be quick and on his,
Yep.
he's on his toes, of course, you know. But
Have you found it's progressed in life, or was it always just at a max level? Like you've always just had the same exact symptoms, or has
I would say probably my teenage years through my 20s and later it got progressively worse, yeah.
and did it ever plateau, or has it just been getting worse until the cannabis?
It was probably the worst, like between 18 and like 30. Yeah, pretty much just.
32.
I don't think I really ever had a good period. In,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I never
right.
really went
she
seizure
says
free for
3,
more
yeah.
than like,
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe at the very, very most like 3 days.
And that's in that's for your entire life. 3 days.
40
was the most.
years.
72 hours was your max.
Holy fucking.
Must have been
Oh,
every. Did you remember those
shit.
days? Those 3 days, like.
Well, yeah, they came and went. You know?
Yeah, I
I
bet.
was
Yeah.
young. I was younger then. Like
Yeah.
I was out riding my bike in the afternoon. You know,
Hmm.
when those days came. Like I said, a lot of the seizures happened during my late later hours in the day. So it was during my sleep hours. So
Right.
I
That's
gotta
when
say,
you're
I
trying to
never-
It
rest.
might be something more with like
I
the
never slept through
you
the
know,
night.
like when she's sleeping.
Right.
In the front. It
Yeah.
might be something dealing with.
I always,
Yeah.
I do
the
remember
REMs.
that. I never slept through the night.
Huh.
Now I'm sleeping through the night.
You smoke or do you use like edible through the night?
I smoke.
Mostly big smoker.
Yeah, mostly smoke.
Nice.
Nice.
So-
Have you ever smoked hash?
The last time I smoked hash, I was in Italy.
Really?
So you were
Really?
smoking European hash.
Yeah, probably some Moroccan.
hash.
Probably.
Some Moroccan or
Cause
something.
it's right there.
What
the
color
bush
was
right
it?
I
Black.
believe
Black tar.
it was dark. Yeah.
Have you ever
Dark
seen
brown.
stuff that look like this?
No.
That's amazing right there.
there. That's top
That's
grade
bond
hash.
Wow.
Smell it.
You can definitely have a dab if you want.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
when we're
alright.
talking about advances in technology and techniques, well, yes.
That's my expertise, like he was saying before, how we all have, you know, a
Yes.
pretty good following.
That's his expertise. He extracts from the plant that.
I mean, I'm a grower
He's like
at
the
heart
art-
first, so I know the resin,
Mm-hmm.
what works well, what doesn't. So it's just natural for me to be able to do that. If I, you know, when I came down here and you see these beautiful little specimens over here on
I
the side of
know.
me that I want to roll up in my woods and smoke.
Grab them as you want them, brother. All that.
But yeah, that's what I do. So
So what? All right. As far as your doctors go,
Yeah.
how did you get converted over to trying cannabis? What was the pushing factor? Did they try to resist? Did you even bring it up to them at first? Like, how did that?
I
That's a great
was
point.
with the doctor for probably a good solid 10 years. And I've been with the same GP for about almost 30 years. No, maybe not 30 years, about 25 years, since I was an adult.
right
You know, since I was around 18.
when you needed your own.
Yep.
Yep.
And that specialist doctor who I was with for about 10 years, we totally ran out of ideas. He said,
Right.
you know what, he goes, I've done every route. He goes, I've done everything I can think of doing to help. He goes, and I'm so sorry. He goes, I'm good. He goes, but I've run out. He goes, and I don't want to see you, you know, I don't want to see you feel like you're getting taken advantage of either.
Right.
You know, in so many words, I could see that was the message, you know, obviously.
Right. Right.
And I told him, I said, how do you feel about medical marijuana? And he said, you know what, I don't have any kind of view on that. He said, I'm sorry, I really prefer not to treat you if you're gonna appeal or go.
Really?
Really.
Yeah, well, I guess he just didn't want to
See,
stop
it's so
mixing
sad.
prescription
What did we say?
medication.
Well,
Yeah,
they give you-
well,
do-
it's
do you-
natural.
give you a reason
know,
why?
So
Did you say why? Like he
No,
wouldn't? He
because
just.
I think that he had already spoken and said that he had tried everything at the time, and he had.
So
already
he was
kinda
pretty much
said
trying
that-
to wash his hands of it, kind of, in a nice way.
That's what it sounds like.
But that was before I even mentioned it. But truly, I think we were
Right.
already done
Yeah.
with everything
Yeah.
he could have.
So it was like whatever to him, anyways. Like
Well-
not whatever, but the situation of medical
I
marijuana.
spoke with my general practitioner, and he said, I told him, I said, listen, I'm at my wit's ends. I said, I'm having a seizure just about every single 18 hours now, every single 18 to 20 hours on the dot, every single day. At least one.
So it's like,
Let's-
fuck it, let's try anything
He
right
said,
now.
Right.
well, one more option, he said, do you think about considering medical marijuana? I said, I don't really know. Never
Yeah.
really thought about it. I didn't
So
ever
so
consider it.
it was a doctor who introduced the idea
Yeah.
to you
I was a doctor.
as his last resort.
Well, yeah, because you know why too? I was a bit hesitant.
You had never smoked before?
Oh no, that's not true.
Okay. Okay.
No, definitely not. I smoked plenty actually. That was the
College
only
years.
drug that I thought I could do anyways.
Right.
when I drank some alcohol, I immediately knew I was going to have a seizure. So if we went out at night, like when we were 18, 19,
Yeah.
20,
Right.
I was already not...
Drink some poison, your body's like...
Right. You're gonna, if I know I was going to have one, well then I'll have a drink and have two. You know, I'll have
There you
two
go.
seizures.
Yeah, if you,
I knew if I was
You're
going to
gonna walk
drink, I
on
was
ice.
going to go
Fuck
to
it,
the
right?
weed again,
if you're gonna walk on
And then
ice, you
I
might as well
drink.
dance, right?
have a wiener, throw up, and have a seizure. You know, at one point, it got pretty shitty, but you know what? My parents loved me. I love them.
Oh, that's good. It's
Sometimes,
awesome that you had a great
but-
backing.
Ugh. At one, man, there was some
Well, it's
some
good.
things that you already knew were gonna come up. Like as you were growing up, there were at least 3 or 4 jobs that you just went in. You were still in your first like 30 days, never mind 90 days, and the company manager saw me have a seizure, and they went, "Oh well, you don't need to come in tomorrow. We have enough of help." And then the owner of the store or supervisor or whatever, manager of the store would call and say, "Oh well, things didn't work out, so have a nice day and you don't need to come back."
Wow.
You know, in so many words. That happened with a few places.
Right.
They just call back and say what are you gonna do? You try and find another job, but
Yeah.
I didn't work much. I definitely didn't work much. I went to college, but too bad because I really did enjoy what I was studying.
What did you study?
Psychology with a concentration in what do you call it? Sociology.
Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
There
I
you
wanted
go.
to work with druggies.
Right.
Yeah, but young kids, kind of like law, something like that.
There's a lot of those now.
Yeah, I wanted to do something where before kids got in trouble, fix it. You know?
Yeah. Right. Try and put them down the right
But
path.
not what's going on now. Are you kidding me with all this opioid crisis?
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh my God.
So when you got introduced, all right, so the doctor's like, okay, why don't you try this medical marijuana? And you said, okay. What were the steps you had to take to go and start that? How did you, did he help you further?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I saw him, and I still see him, and everything.
He just checks up on you, kind of make sure everything is whatever with your
Well,
the prescriptions that you do take now. Because I see there's like 23 or 24 of them, and you said
oh well, these.
you only take 3 now that the stars are marked on the side of, right?
Right.
So
no,
you're down to
definitely
3.
True.
3 are the. I mean, there's like 24 or 25 I can see probably. So
Yeah, definitely.
that's
Medication was a huge part of it.
It's like half the job, huh? Like
Yeah.
just taking pills.
Yeah, but
This
you know
pill to
what?
stop that pill. That
Well,
pill
I
to
guess
stop
it
this
looks like
pill.
you've dialed down. I mean, I know you told me some of them were what they would give you when you did go into the hospital after you've had a seizure. To,
A lot
the
of it was-
Valium and the
Well,
stuff
the
just to
idea
chill you
was
out
then,
for a minute.
I mean, then it was like, hey, well, you interested in trying
Oh yeah, such and such. Yeah.
Depakote? Well, my idea was, the whole idea was, how do you know it's not going to work unless you try
Exactly,
it? So
exactly.
from the time I was a kid, I kind of
And nothing
tried it.
And nothing
you know?
had worked yet.
Nothing
Right.
worked.
So
but
keep trying, right?
Right.
That's what you got to do.
that was the whole idea.
Well, strangely enough, that's actually kind of like
I kind of
the
just
medical
figured-
system's like theory. So with the pills that end up, the way they end up working now with marketers, drug marketers, as far as pharmaceutical companies, most of them that actually sell it to doctors don't have anything have to do as far as degrees or anything like that from any kind of medical school ever. Most of them end up being very high energy, decent, good looking, so they can end up kind of talking up the doctor. And if the doctor prescribes that more, they send them. They ask them to do like what do you call it, a speaker. Keynote speaker, but they pay him for that keynote speaker and take his family for the vacation,
Right.
blah blah
Right.
blah. They
Down
pay
to a
him in
Aruba.
other ways. So it's almost like a bit of incentive.
perks.
And these perks are being sold to them by somebody who has no medical training at all.
Right.
By
So
Ryan
they just
Seacrest of the medical field.
right. So they're like, oh well, we just got this new on the market. Try this out, and it's perfect. That you're a perfect candidate for that
Right,
stuff
right.
because, like you said,
You got seizures, right?
you haven't found anything that works yet.
Right.
So of course you're not going to know if it works unless you try it.
Well,
So now they're
you
gonna, you know,
they're the expert,
right? Well, right. And
Right,
that's
but
what
who's
the
the
issue.
probably-
That's
and
what the
I'm-
issue
I probably
is.
couldn't even
And that's-
define seizure until I was 10.
Right.
And that's what we're saying.
If that was even right.
The
you know?
expert is listening to a salesman.
Right.
A pretty
right.
salesman. That's
Yeah.
it.
No.
Nothing more. Is
So,
I swear,
it's
young,
scary
usually
because,
young dude
you know-
buffed up like that, or chicks very pretty, very all dolled up, dressed up in professional attire, suits, and all that stuff like that. But they're just there to make
now
that
the
sale.
flip
I
side-
know, because even when it was like say around the late 90s, and it probably ended around the late 90s. Yeah, around then. But from the like 80s into the late 90s, when you went to visit a doctor for a doctor's appointment, you'd leave, but you'd leave with like a bag full of samples.
Oh yeah.
There were no. They're going.
They cut that
And
out.
they were loving it too. They would take all you need.
Right. Right.
You know, take all you
Get
need.
addicted, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that coin is, they don't know what it's doing to you. They're using you as a guinea pig.
Exactly.
So
You
now,
thought
what's
it
the
was a
symptom
perk.
to that?
Well,
Mhm.
Oh, but I know this symptom. I can fix this symptom with this.
Well, we got something for that.
But there's symptoms from that. So
So-
now you know.
And I don't mind,
Spiral.
we're not, like we said we're not anti-medicine or anything
Absolutely
like
not.
that.
I'm
If
not
it, because I mean, we
against
was talking with somebody like this. We're talking about the whole vaccination thing, and like, look, there's certain things that you need to get vaccinated, like measles. It's been proven. We've been doing it for a very long time.
Right.
Get your shots. That's not that's simple science has been proven over time. Other stuff, but to try this, try that, try this. Well, I got some of this. I got some of that.
Well, now
Like,
conspiracy theory kind of coming out in me a little bit.
dun dun dun.
So you were diagnosed when you were 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember if it just started happening, or did you go and get a certain set of shots at the doctors and then all of a sudden they started happening?
It just started happening. They never, up until now, they never really knew
Yeah.
what the cause was. Like I said, my mom was never in an accident. She had no reported, nothing weird happened like through the pregnancy. I was
Right.
born on time.
Right.
She was still young to have me. She didn't have a pregnancy like that.
Is she
So-
still with us?
Oh yeah.
You should see if you can ask her if she remembers bringing you in for any shots before, like right around the time it started happening, and what shots they could have been, because
Polio vaccination.
it's around that time when it started happening more and more often.
yeah. I mean, we're
Because that would
it's
have
not just
been you were
it's-
born in what
It's up to everybody up to like the
74,
past,
so
teenage
at
up to this
least,
year that we've
yeah.
been keeping an eye on it. I mean, like we're all taking shots that we probably shouldn't have taken,
right.
and so like trying to backtrack that just in case.
You were in the army, right?
I was. I took a lot.
I
of
took a
stuff.
bunch of
Well,
shots.
Mercury.
Just a bunch of numbers.
Mercury.
Take this. Take that. Take this. Take that. They just it literally was like you just a line of people
You
to the
also
left
know.
and to the right, and you just go step by step one, step
That's
like
okay.
left.
Okay.
I mean, like
With the gun.
straight
Yeah.
arms are just
Yeah.
hurting, red, pink cushion. We have no idea.
Remember that big the bubble you would get? What fucking vaccine was that?
Oh, that thing it was for the.
If you got the bubble,
Yeah, if it turned certain color or something
it's
like that.
like,
it
oh,
was
what
crazy.
the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. The other one I didn't take
Well, I
was the
remember
recent
they
one, the
stopped the
anthrax
one.
I
You
spit
guys
that
probably
one
have
out.
them, but the one that left the scar here on everybody. Everybody that had that. got-
Yeah.
My mom's got one. My aunt's got
My
one.
aunt
All of
got
our
one,
parents
yeah.
got that like
It's
a
yeah.
flesh wound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
That's
for
crazy.
some crazy shots back. And that's the thing, like, people have been saying, noticing, as soon as my kid went in for shots, they started having seizures, or this happened, or that happened, and it's like, well, what the fuck are they putting in these shots? I get it.
It could have been an allergic reaction as well.
True, absolutely.
You know,
but my thing is with it is, all right, back in the day, there was none of that stuff. So your body, if you got sick, you had to fight it off. If you were young, then sorry, but
Big wheel ramp,
hopefully you
no
get
helmet.
hopefully you get better. But now the next time you get that, you've already fought it off, so you have an immunity to it. So nowadays these kids are getting pumped with all kinds of shit. They get one little sickness and they're fucking sick forever. Because they're not immune, because they're just coddled, and it's like, so I don't know. I have a very strong feeling about all that shit.
That's currently
You know
now.
what I
I'm
mean?
gonna say probably
Let the
like
kid have a cough. Let him play in the
16
dirt.
and up.
It could also be a
But
bad.
the new ones coming up, they're a little bit tougher. They're a little bit more like
Everybody's got an
all right, that's
anxiety
kind of
today.
stupid.
Oh,
you
God,
the ones
I
we
know.
got right now, I'm
Jump.
saying between like 17 to like
Like
29,
anxiety
like
is
that.
the
They're
new.
real whiny.
I don't even
real,
want to
like,
get into that.
I'm a big wheel ramp, no helmet. That's a childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened. You scraped your knees. You scraped your knees.
Right.
But
Another thing too is there was especially in like the 80s and 90s, like the food that was being introduced to the public was a different type of food. You know what I'm saying? And it was less known about, and I feel people during pregnancies were eating this shit.
Yep.
And now all these new ADD and all this crazy shit that everyone's got now, I think has a lot more to do with diet-based facts
Absolutely.
than
pregnant women
diseases.
can't eat.
And the
pregnant
problem
women
with
can't
that
eat
is-
fish. That's crazy.
The
Like,
problem with that is there's
Mercury?
no way
Yeah,
to
that's
there's no way to
insane.
find that
Mercury
out
can
unless
affect
you
food
change
too,
your
if it's-
diet
if
to a
it's,
certain thing, and even then, when by the time you realize that that's what you
Eating
need to
in
do,
excess.
you're 30 years old, or so
Yeah.
you've already been eating.
And even then, what's the solution? You're gonna go and fish every fish you
Right.
yourself,
Exactly.
plant every carrot yourself. Like you need to put trust somewhere, and you never know,
Yeah.
because it seems like a lot of especially the food industry, it's like funnels down to just a couple big guys who actually control the food. You know?
Monsanto.
Whoever,
yeah,
but-
there's no such thing as farmers.
Nope.
They like the farmers that got now the big gigantic
They're all
fields end
owned
up
by Monsanto
they
in the back
only
pocket.
flip from corn to soy, and the whole purpose isn't for feeding people; it's to feed livestock.
Yep. Yep. I know.
That's the whole purpose. And so a lot of these farmers, everything's like kind of like almost automated with the machines. They have daytime jobs in the city, so they're not even like real farmers anymore.
Right. I drove from Northern California down to San Bernardino, and through that little valley that you have to go. It's not a little valley; it's a big valley. But along that highway, the fucking cows I saw, I couldn't not see one. You look to your left, there was fucking thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and
Cows?
and it was just black, the dirt, the mud.
Really?
And just cows everywhere. And it stunk. Then you look to your right, and they're just like, some of them are chilling way up on a fucking hill that's like way the fuck up there. Like, how did you get up there? But the amount of, oh my god, it was, how do you feed these fucking, and then it hit me. I'm like, yeah, it's why,
But it's a bad way
these
of doing
farmers,
it. It's that whole
Sounds
like that.
all
it's
like Europe.
we've separated.
gross. It
We
stunk.
we've separated
Oh,
like
wow.
a lot of the stuff, thinking that we're kind of industrializing it, right? So we ended up, rather than having the cows just normally pasture like they normally do, you just gotta have cowboys, blah blah, because there's too many variables, and that's money that's end up being lost as far as like investment if you're actually a rancher and stuff like that. So to contain them is a little bit more to secure your investment, but at the same time you're causing, you gotta demand a feed, so you end up causing this unbelievable like one crop, two crop like type of society, and to only feed one animal.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I didn't know this. Cows don't just fart; they also burp methane too.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Really?
So they burp farts.
Yeah, well, look what they eat. I couldn't even believe what they were eating. The ones that I saw in California, like what was on the ground, it was black. Like it was good soil, I bet, but it was black. The whole, from everything I could see, all the way to the horizon was black with cows. I could not believe it. It was unreal. I've never seen anything like it ever. Go check it out if you ever get a chance.
Just bag up some stuff. Come back to it like later.
You couldn't even probably handle it getting close to it outside. We were in the car and I was gagging.
Oh.
You
get used to it.
open the, yeah, you get used to it.
After a while,
but
you just go numb to it.
I'm used to it around here because, well, from where I'm from, there's a lot of cows and farms. So when I drive in the summertime, you drive around down there. It's pretty stinky, but it ain't what I smelled there. That was
That's pure
unapproachable. Just pure wretched.
Level 99.
Yeah, it was I couldn't believe it. I did see
You're not
one
going
of
back, huh?
I'd do it again, I guess. Probably, maybe.
I ain't living in
But
that.
it was a nice ride. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Sight
It
to
was
see.
gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful land. But when I got to that part, it was like, oh, what the fuck? But I did also see one of the biggest facilities for medical cannabis. That was also very big too. We were driving for a good minute, and it was just
Nice.
it blew my mind. My Mendo Dope Daniel, I was with him. He's like, yeah, look at this place. I was like, what the fuck?
Cool.
But
I can't wait to see one of those farms, man.
So your general
I wanna
practitioner
run like a-
was on board. You
Yes.
have other doctors, right? Or do you have like specialists? And
I have a neurologist. Yep.
and what was their opinion?
I don't think they're anti. I don't think that they're anti. I don't think they're gonna say they're pro yet because
they get scrutinized.
right.
But they've been testing you. I mean, they must have a file on you, so they
I
have.
ask him. I've asked him a few times now.
Well, yeah, you got to be honest with them.
Oh, he
'cause-
knows
yeah,
that I'm
right.
using medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I tell my doctor too. Some people are like, "Well, are you sure?" It's like, "Yeah, well, if I do end up taking
I asked
something
him.
else,
I said, "How many?"
it can
at this point, I
unbalance
said,
it. I want to make sure
"How
I don't
many
go crazy or
patients
something."
do you
I
have?
should tell them.
How many
Be
how
honest.
many patients do you have now, doctor, who are using medical marijuana? You know, and he said probably about a little more than a dozen.
Hmm.
He said you should probably start keeping a list.
Yeah, that's what I
Most
was
certainly.
You know,
kind of getting into with
of
you.
who's using and what's going on. Just because we still fly him, I'm sure notes when we see him about.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yep.
You know what?
It's important.
Yeah, definitely.
And
You know.
he must obviously see that you're coming off pills, and they don't have any reaction to that. To me, that blows my mind.
I know,
Oh,
I know,
definitely.
right.
No, they know what's
Right.
going on. They definitely know what's going on.
They
have
they won't say anything because they'll get scrutinized. So
No,
they try to just
at the same time,
like,
it's
okay, cool. You know, I'm glad it's,
definitely know what's
it's
going on.
doing something
Let's
for
try to
you.
think about it
but-
from like a scientific side, right? From a doctor's point, like that. I mean, he has, he has no actual like record keeping of how often, what
Yeah,
were the
'cause
levels of specifically what was actually in
there's
that
no
cannabis,
standard.
the testing, all this
Right.
like that, all this data, so he can actually try to understand what's actually happening with her.
Well,
It's for them, it's still like a big mystery because we're missing that information that you're
because they
giving
won't
them
allow
now.
the testing, which is
Yeah, so all they
problem.
have is now what any patient will bring to them as
But-
far as information.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the only type of information we can supply because they won't allow the testing because it's a Schedule 1
yeah,
product.
it's
So all we have is a real patient's testimonies and real medical tests that are proving cannabis is doing something,
Mhm.
and they're still saying it has zero medical properties.
It's so bullshit.
no.
yeah, so listen.
That's why it's a Schedule 1.
They're changing their minds in there, and there's a good portion of them that are starting to agree that all right, there's something to this, but
God bless.
they can't because it's Schedule 1. The FDA won't allow them to even try to test.
That's what I'm saying. So
So-
that's what my point is. We have someone like Val here, who's trying to give these doctors, look, I'm coming off pills, and there's plenty of people that I'm sure across the nation could go through the same testimonies where these doctors could say, we have this amount of patients there, this amount of patients there. Maybe we should get a study together
Sure.
because
Oh.
unless we
I
have all these
definitely
different
agree.
miracles happening,
I definitely agree.
but no, they're gonna say, well, we don't have the actual dosage that they're using, so that invalidates their
bulbs
It
on
validates
the
the
buds.
whole claim.
No, the bulbs are.
I mean, are they even looking into it?
Well,
Because it's been quite a few years now since California has passed its medical program.
Like 96.
So you'd figure there's got to be at least a couple doctors in
21
California
years.
who have dealt with
we've
the
already
patient.
dealt with it.
No, wait.
Dealt with the patients.
36.
And now how many states are medical now? 24,
20,
26, something like that?
20 something.
Medical?
At
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, there's a-
24.
Yeah, and
Half the country.
The whole West Coast and the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got half the
Right.
country
And some
who's
of the
medical.
north.
someone
Every
just
single
decrypted,
person
too.
who has their medical card.
It's like 28 states, and I forget, was it nine now with Nevada?
Rec?
Mm.
Yeah, right.
How many rec? 9? Is that what you said? I thought there was only like 4
Hawaii,
or
Alaska,
5. Rec.
Cali, Colorado,
Mass.
Oregon, Mass. Is Washington?
Yep.
Washington, Nevada.
Oh damn.
That's 8.
8.
Well, we have enough
Did we miss
states.
one? No. Well, in DC. But it's
You
not a
put that
state,
whole
you know.
thing
So
up.
No, one more little one.
We need another bug.
Yeah.
Well, we have enough. We have enough states where there's enough people who have doctors who actually have problems. You know, medical problems.
yeah.
They must be seeing change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And we already know that.
I've
It's
been
stupid for me to even
report-
say it.
I-
I feel stupid saying it because it's so obvious to me. I've seen it. I've seen it so many times with so many different people.
Well-
I mean, seeing your life change since I've met you.
Definitely.
The first time I met you, you were very zombie-like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talk. You know, not to talk.
No, I was definitely still on more medication than I am now, but
Mm.
it's since we met, my health went from like a 8. I'm sorry, from like a 2 to an 8, you know?
Wow.
And it's still going, you know? I'm not,
And we haven't even
I
zeroed
had,
in
like
on
I
anything
said, I
yet.
had 3 seizures all month. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
awesome.
I was lucky if I had
Compared to 18,
18
every
hours
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Fuck
You know? I was lucky if I had 18 hours in between the next.
Hmm.
And prior to the one earlier, 20 hours, you know? That
Yeah.
was good. that was what was happening. That
Mm-hmm.
was what was happening. That's why my
I
GP
one more little
let me into it. You know, he said, "Listen, there's one more option that I'll
second, right?
you know." He goes, "Because things are this bad." He goes, "Now you and your doctors are
Nope, that's not.
don't even know what you can do for
the
you
corner.
anymore. They had tried
The corner
nearly
will
every
cap.
medication.
Right.
They
Well,
tried every
yeah.
medication.
Once
every
you know,
cocktail.
like
New
you
stuff.
said,
Yeah.
you knew you got the feeling that
Every
that's what
cocktail,
was
you
that was
know?
happening. So it's
'Cause
time
they
for you
had
to take
no
it.
cause, you know. They didn't have any cause. There was no origin, you know. for
I'm almost
years.
thinking about too, because you can end up going out to like, you can go, what was it,
There was no
Thailand
real
or-
origin. It wasn't
or I
like
think
it
it was
No, right.
Thailand
You know,
or-
But that's why now you gotta take it
Shanghai,
into
something
your
like
own
Thailand.
Yeah.
hands
Where
and
they had this
figure
actual
out.
hospital,
You
which is
know,
more like actually like a whole hotel,
No,
from top to
I gotta
bottom,
say,
the
I
whole
can't-
body,
I can't
and you
say
can
that
end up
anything's
getting
going
a whole
badly,
heart
no,
replaced for
not
like
at
a
all.
third of what it
Yeah.
actually cost in the U.S.
Definitely not.
And I'm talking about like top notch, everything to do their job like super diligently, and you go from room to room, from like, you know, you can check. All right, you're gonna start get a body scan, this and that. They're gonna test your, you know, like you can get everything
They have a
done.
lot of people
That's why
flying
now I
in.
can't.
Yeah, people are
sometimes
flying in.
wrap-
It's like a hotel. You end up having your room.
Yeah,
I mean,
sometimes
it's
you
like
gotta wrap
a
your head
5-star
around all these
hotel, and you come
years,
in. They have
medicine,
like a
doctors,
reception area,
and
but it's a
you
hospital.
keep them the expert.
And it's specifically,
you know,
I mean, for a
you
country
trust
that has
them
like
they're
that
the
more
expert.
third world, you know.
no, yeah,
you
it's
know?
tough because you got, you know,
Mm.
that's the thing. It's exactly
I
that.
still, you know, I still
It's fucking crazy.
hope I can trust the expert. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I was saying before, at least now you can start zeroing in on certain strain cultivars and see, you know, just smoke one cultivar for, you know, a good week or a month if
Yeah.
you can, you know, if you can pull it off, you know what I mean, and
Right.
then you know, document what,
Well, I mean,
how long, you know, how you felt, how long since you know, obviously like you're doing anyways, but under this one cultivar, You know what I mean? And then switch to another one. Or if that one works really well and you don't have any fucking seizures, then you stay with it. You know what
We've
I
been
mean?
working with
Try and do that, you know?
We've been working with the Mr. E strain.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
been the primary strain that I've been giving her. But the last 2 years, I've been fluctuating some other stuff in from, just trying to test the waters to see if we can improve even more, get it down to 0.
I love Mr. E.
I'm glad I have some in my garden.
Oh man, I love
Can you grab the Mr. E
It's
jar?
definitely working.
it. Oh man, it's.
I'm about to try this
so
Apple
good.
Pops,
She's amazing.
courtesy
She's
of
Definitely working.
East Coasterdam.
No, Mr. E.
That has now it has kind of a little bit a different meaning.
So
Know that
it should be a
actually
low
helps
jar.
you when I smoke it now, because I actually know that
This,
this,
Oh well.
the plant itself, even broken down to like its individual like properties, with all the different cannabinoids, you could have only like 2 or 3 would end up affecting you, and we can end up finding out which one has those 2 or 3 that are really high up to help you really stop within the seizures. As far as something, but the thing about every plant is different from the next one.
I bet.
You know what?
Definitely.
They say pretty much everything, it comes down to numbers, right? Math. It's like everything can be broken down into like an equation of some sort.
Math is really the only true science that doesn't change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
1 and 1 is 2.
are there not
Can't change
far
that.
more cannabinoids on the plant than we even understand yet?
Probably.
I thought they said there was like over 400, and we only really know.
There could be more than 400. I don't even think they know exactly how many there are.
Man,
So, well, what my
Yeah, you have the thing right in front of you.
My-
I don't know if it's gonna mess anything up. though.
where I'm going with this
We're not
is,
that skilled yet.
Where I'm going with this is, people are right now just looking at CBD, THC, or just the things that are on the typical test right now.
Right.
And they're just looking at those numbers. But what if there's a whole other bunch of compounds? Maybe, all of the terpene numbers, all of that stuff. Everything adds up to a certain number. Like, you don't just look at the THC. You add the THC, you add the CBD, and I'm just
Well, to get a total, right?
just getting a total of everything, even
Right.
the things we don't even know of yet. And maybe
Well,
that's what's
yeah,
actually
right.
the healing or the curing stuff. And
Well-
we're just accrediting it to THC or CBD, but it could be
How
a
many?
whole nother math we don't even know yet. It could be a whole nother equation that we haven't figured out yet because we don't know
Well,
the plant.
equations
so,
still could still be
currently-
a question mark.
the currently what the general thing is 113.
Have been
113.
isolated.
That's that wheel
Isolated?
that like that. Yeah, that have so far been isolated that we can actually most certainly say.
All right, so
but that doesn't mean that's like the final thing. It just says
so
that
we have two receptors.
Because we're still doing too. Remember, we're still like cataloging each one. There's a whole library out there that still hasn't even been fully tested. So up to this point, what has been tested?
Well, right. But what I'm saying is, we only have 2 cannabinoid receptors that we know of in our body, anyways.
That we know they're actually doing something,
Right.
but we don't know what the rest of them are doing.
So, and there's 100 and what?
13
Right.
so far that have been,
so far, and that's higher than what it was before.
Yeah.
So obviously that list is obviously growing.
It's good. I believe it's going to grow because there's probably some guy
Well, now
that's got
what we-
some
I feel we
strand
need-
that doesn't want to share with
Right.
nobody, doesn't want to let the cut go to nobody, blah blah blah, is sitting there keeping it locked up, and that might end up having that missing one. They might end up going to 114, just like that.
I feel we need to figure out what's in our brain first. If they, what exactly those 2 do. I'm sure they have an idea of, how the
Well, it's a keyhole.
right. So
But
there's
all these cannabinoids fit in the keyhole.
Oh.
That's what a receptor is. We're not rejecting all these other cannabinoids besides just CBD and THC.
So these, remember how when they started doing your test, right? They were talking about the synapses.
This
that
is where
were
I was trying to
firing,
go with
right?
this. Yeah.
Right. So a long time ago, they also said that THC attaches to your fat cells, and we all know that. But they said that it might have caused like a type of film over your brain. saying that it might affect you, but that actually is true. But what they ended up doing was saying that it was bad for you. What they're not saying now is that they were finding out is that it's actually like causing a shell, so it has no choice but to fire correctly, rather than like firing off firing
So it's
to
like a
left
force
to
field.
right.
It's
Right. So it's causing something
Right.
to like that to make
Like
sure
a
that,
biodome.
so within these
Yeah, it's
cannabinoids,
forcing it to
depending
go.
on what you have, depending if it's epilepsy, depending if it's Parkinson's, or
Right.
they're testing out which
That's right.
ones are helping
Which
fire
ones are
things
helping
correctly. Because
fire.
remember how when they were testing, they didn't, that test that they were doing wasn't, you was having a different type of seizure, so that's why they couldn't do that test. But maybe that strand could end up helping you and not help them,
And not help them.
or the next plant can help them and not
and
you.
not help me.
Right.
That's why I was trying to say to try and dial in on a certain strand. You got me go saying it. Cultivar.
Sorry, man. I'm just. What
I've been trying to say. I've been
What do you
trying
say
to say
cultivar?
because that's what it is. It's not a strain.
Strange strand.
It's not a strain or a strand.
strange strand.
No, it's a cultivar. That's each individual name of the whatever the name that someone fucking gives it is that's the cultivar. Then there's phenotypes and genotypes within that cultivar. So that's how that works. Sorry.
Nice.
I've been just trying to say cultivar because it's proper.
How about if I say like type? Just
Well,
shorten it.
What do you guys think of my theory, though? You know, we're only looking at CBD and thinking, oh, it's a high CBD strain. That's the one you want to use for healing. But like I'm saying,
Well, I've always felt that it's better. You need both because they work together.
All right, this is the pit hole that I'm talking about.
Okay.
We only look at those two things. There's 113 cannabinoids. What if there's a whole other metric system
Yeah.
of numbers that actually add up to something? Like, you don't just look at those two. You might have to add everything together. And then there's a certain threshold that's for healing this, that, and that.
That's why they need to open up, make it fucking
Yeah.
federally legal, and
Make
open
it
it up so we
make
can
it
fucking
legal.
test it like that, and
Because-
have these smart motherfuckers actually dive into her brain and our brain and see what the hell's going on.
Because
Legally.
they claim you need a high CBD strain for the epilepsy.
Because I bet you if you put
They're talking about
if
the
if it was-
THCV.
easy to put those
That one is the one they was
sensors on your head without going in and monitor you before and after you've smoked and see the fucking different
Oh,
firings that
sure,
are
because
going on.
in most cases...
No shit, they won't. This is why
cases they have to-
this is why we're here right here,
Well,
so we can get these,
In
the word out.
days, they had to bring you into the hospital several
How about if you
hours
don't tell 'em?
earlier, just to
Right?
wean you off your medication,
Right.
so that
So you can do
you would have
yeah.
a seizure, and they could view and
Right.
under like CCTV and video.
Right.
What do
I've-
you call it?
How about if
So
you
they
did
could
it?
actually view a seizure.
Yeah.
That was the
You know
whole
you're going
idea.
in for
Like
testing?
come in
You smoke
and they
and blah blah
video
after like that.
and
You already
With
have
you
it.
could-
off of your
if you could've-
medication.
right,
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 right.
exactly. That's what they wanted. They wanted to view it. They wanted to see what you were complaining about in
Right,
most cases.
Right. Kind of like
know?
the sleep.
Kind of like a sleep
study, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
trying. They wanted you to have
Especially
this so
with
they could see
you
what
at
was going
night,
on.
you know.
You
How
were
he says.
So bad.
continuously complaining, you know.
Yeah.
Continuously complaining for years.
See, I mean, there's so many breathroughs that
But
that
most
they
of
don't
them
even
happened
see.
while I was during my sleep hours, like the later hours.
Mm.
So I had to stay overnight in many cases, like in the hospitals.
Well, I'm just
Ugh.
Well, I feel cannabis opens up the mind anyway. So when you smoke, it opens up your mind, lets it be free, lets those what do we call them? The firings,
Synapses.
synapses. Let them. They happen natural
I wonder,
because you're.
like, sometimes if this was available, like, years and years ago. I still don't know if, like, my parents would have said, like, jumped on it like they did.
Oh, they
with
definitely
medications.
wouldn't have.
They would be
because-
going through so much negative propaganda.
I mean, if it
from the
worked-
man. It was
If it worked
impossible.
and they saw a positive to it, I would hope.
Oh my god.
I
You
would hope so.
But breaking the
My parents
barrier.
don't know I'm on it now.
Oh.
You know, the whole thing ended up being all
That's
political
the mo of it.
for all political reasons
No,
in the
they
Nixon.
don't.
Damn.
Nixon.
No, they
Nixon.
don't.
So did you hear about as far as like why it all really pushed the 70s kind of like drug war?
Oh,
Tasty.
It's nice, isn't it?
During the Nixon era, right?
We can do
He
some
started
magic
trying to
with this.
figure out
No, my parents don't know.
what his
I know.
opponents, what his opponents, political
my-
opponents were against. I mean, it ended up being the hippies and the black movement, as far as to push to enforce the civil rights and so on and so forth. So something that they had in common was they both smoked weed, right?
Okay.
So he ended up having a political study done so he can have science actually back his saying, oh, this is why they're back, because they smoke marijuana, blah blah blah. But when the study came back, the study actually said that it's actually medically beneficial. He sealed the file. This was actually admitted by one of his senior aides before he died, of course, before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to make it Schedule 1 and propaganda, blah blah blah, specifically just for political gain.
Mm-hmm.
And
Alright.
boom! I mean, the cops didn't mind. DEA got born. Blah 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 blah.
DEA got
It's all about.
born.
It ended up being all about money. The
The drug war started
That sounds-
everything.
It's all on money.
That sounds very American.
Alcohol, the prohibition started, I bet, in the Industrial
And
Revolution.
all of this available
In
online
some
for anybody to
senses.
read.
And it
This is
created
not
the
no
Industrial
conspiracy.
Revolution.
This is
Right.
all fact
Yeah.
and true.
Without it,
I
those motherfuckers wouldn't be working like the way they
a
were.
part of marijuana. I never used drugs. I was afraid to use drugs. I just figured I don't.
You do use drugs. You've ever had an aspirin? You ever had a soda? Have you ever? Those are all drugs. They just
Yeah.
don't. tell
Yeah,
you they
but
are.
I mean,
Caffeine.
No, well,
all
yeah,
that
I do
stuff
drink a lot.
Those are drugs.
Those are drugs.
I would imagine you
Nicotine.
wouldn't
That's
be.
why that word is so dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine during the '70s you'd be out.
I don't feel
all
this is a
list
drug.
of
I was just always
It comes
medications and
from
blowing a few
naturally.
lines or anything like that.
You can pick it off the plant,
No,
dry,
I get
you know.
that. I get that. I totally get that.
That's what I try and explain to like someone like your parents or my grandparents or stuff like that.
What do you think about that? That now that we know all these facts, that all that stuff that you were told was
Just-
lies.
No. Well, you didn't know
I think it's
What-
ignorance.
what it was until.
Well, like you said, you were expecting them to
Until,
know.
Well, yeah, definitely. You hope that they would know, you
Right.
know.
And then when you bring
Well,
up the
until-
medical cannabis, they shoot you down and
From the time I was a kid, doctors, one doctor especially, probably my childhood doctor continuously told me, you are going to grow out of this. You will grow out of this. On almost every single appointment, it was a promise. It was a promise.
well, that's
And
the planting the seed of
there I
hope.
was,
I mean, it's
13, 14 years old, as they promised, you'll grow out of this by the time you're a teen.
Sad.
Well, I was a teen and I had not grown out of it.
well. That's. I think that's also a good piece of psychology. I mean, you don't want to tell a child.
No, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Again
Yeah.
and again, I heard you
I
were
mean,
gonna grow out
That's
of
not how
this
they do it now.
stories.
They let them know. They tell them the truth.
Well,
No.
Yeah,
you
but this
you
was
think
back
the
in the
kids
day
in
when they had
cancer
no
wards
idea.
don't
Yeah,
know?
they-
They know. They actually tell them. It's not like they used to be back in the day. It kind of
But they-
like pretend it's not.
It's a touchy subject. It
But they've
really
also
is.
they admittedly didn't know.
there came all the medications to try this and try that and try this and try that.
I mean, like we
You
said,
know,
we don't.
try and get you seizure free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that never happened.
At least they're trying, but it's the ones that do it for personal gain.
Let
are
me
the
ask you
ones that
something.
Mhm.
Through all this time,
piss me
did you
off.
ever try that kind of like electric stimulation?
Yeah, listen to us.
The vagus nerve stimulator was the second best option because I wasn't a candidate for corrective surgery.
Right.
So that was. the
But this is
next-
more like new age though. I mean, like when you were growing up.
16 years ago.
Oh, so like when you were growing up, was there ever like an electric treatment that they tried?
No,
Nothing like that.
No, there are treatments today that you could.
Well, she said
Probably.
you've had it for it's 16 years ago. 16 years. You've had it. The
The vagus
The
nerve
vagus nerve
stimulator.
stimulator?
I got originally in 2002.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
that was
That's still
therapy.
fairly-
yeah, it's still fairly good.
That's
And no, nothing like in the 80s or
No.
90s. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So you
'Cause I've
still
heard-
had,
sometimes you hear horror
Because
stories where they're like,
I
"Oh, we're gonna
find-
shock it out of you."
My
Yeah.
parents didn't think
It's
that
true
it
though,
was
but
that
this is not
urgent
like I wish I was like.
to try those
making
kind
it
of
up.
therapies
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I was that young.
No,
Right,
but that's what
right.
I was asking.
You know,
yeah, that was back in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah, you just never.
I was still
That
very
would-
young.
yeah,
My parents
Some of
weren't
these
gonna
quacks.
That would have never
try that
happened.
kind
Quacks.
of surgery. No.
Well, I don't mean to be hung up on it, but I'm just curious because we started with the mystery strain, and that doesn't have a high CBD count, and everyone's always been preaching that you need the high CBD for epilepsy, and it's.
I mean, that's what they say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't think we really understand. So
Absolutely.
That's
not.
with the
We don't.
113. It could end up being just one of those specific ones that works just for her. That's with
Right.
within Mr. E.
Exactly. So that's why it's important that you look at the testing with a grain of salt almost, because there's a lot more to it. You need to have a hands-on testing
Definitely.
experience to try the
Definitely.
different strains. That's why lately I've been trying to give you different strains to see if anything's acting, better. So we're gonna keep trying, get it down to hopefully 0. I mean, I know it sounds impossible, but we've gotten it from how many to what? I want to hear the numbers again, just so everyone can hear it
Gone
one more
from-
time.
Like having one almost every 18 hours. I'll put it sometimes anywhere from 1 to 1.5 a day. Sometimes.
So 40, 45 a month, 50 a month.
Yep. To around seven a month. This
Now,
month I had 3.
Nice.
Now, when you have them, have you
I mean,
ever
not nice, but
tried
I'm glad that it's a low number.
A small number. Very small.
tinctures or anything? Like when she's having a seizure?
well, the seizures don't last long, right?
No.
No, but I've heard of
Sleep
instances
around
of
one.
if you put a couple drops in and it stops it, done,
Mm.
right in its tracks.
Well,
We'll have to
if
make
it's
some. We'll have to
daytime
make
and
some
she's
tinctures.
I have
they
some in
scan
my
her
house.
with the VNS. Comes right out of it. She'll cough. She'll go. I'll say, honey, I'll scan a couple times.
Fine.
Does she sleep?
Coughs.
If I'm having a seizure,
I don't do it while she's sleeping.
Chris
She'll
will
have it early in the morning.
you take the magnet
And I'll just kind of like soothe
when you
her
see the
and-
signs
and
and
she'll-
signs and
Yep.
Hopefully
symptoms.
I can keep.
You would
sometimes
approach
she
me,
jumps
take
up
the
and like
magnet.
sleepwalks.
Rub it against the implant,
Yep.
and within seconds, the magnet will turn on
Right. Yeah, because
and
it's
stop the seizure.
right.
That's so crazy.
It
that
is
they
crazy.
Figured that out.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Now there's
No, she had
the
a
same,
seizure. She
almost
couldn't
similar
cough for 20
therapy, I think,
minutes.
for.
Scan her. So
Oh, it's
if I
another.
got it,
Not
yeah,
sure which
somebody
one, but they
Mm.
started it for another neurological condition too.
Okay.
Now, so now once the seizure stop, how I'm sure it's kind of like a big shock to the body. Do you feel disoriented or anything like that afterwards, or
No. No,
do you
actually-
smoke?
So you're right back
afterwards?
in it.
Yeah.
Do you ever smoke afterwards?
So exhausted after.
But previously, like when you were having them every 18 hours, did you feel like how long did it take to recover? Like a half hour to like 20 minutes to kind of like before you could speak again, or
Yes, it was longer, definitely longer.
so like a half hour of like recouping your brain to even like focus again.
Get focused, oriented. Yeah, I'd be disoriented, definitely.
Tired.
Very
fatigued.
tired.
Yeah.
So for a half hour every 18 hours, your life was fucked up for 40 years.
Damn it, you gotta put it like that.
Well,
I mean, yes.
I don't mean fucked up. I mean like your time
Yeah.
was
Well, everything was-
recovering your
Right,
brain
that-
from the
everything
seizure.
was
Well,
off.
earlier
Yeah.
before we were
Shock to the
when we were
mind.
off air,
Mhm.
she's when
Everything
she
was
told me,
off.
I said, "That's not even time really for your brain and your body to recover if you're having one every 18 hours,
Yeah,
because you need at least an hour or two to kind of
exactly.
come back and be like, holy fuck." Yeah,
That's
and
what I mean.
try and sleep
now
and
when I say
do the math on that over that much.
now most of your day is sleeping.
I'm interested. What are your dreams like?
I don't know. I don't remember my dreams much.
No?
Sometimes. A lot of them.
I'm fascinated by dreams, anyways.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always something that already happened during the day, or something that just kind of stays on your mind.
Yeah,
You know.
and it
almost
just gets
like-
dragged out
So
a
you just
little
dream
bit.
normal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
she
so-
coughs.
Well,
Cool.
That's an
You know,
awesome
if-
story.
My
And,
cat usually wakes me up in the middle of the night. She steps all over my head, on my hair, walks all over both of us,
Oh, yeah.
continuously.
It's
Hi,
playtime
it's
for
3 in the
her.
morning, time
right?
to play.
Yeah.
Well, better the cat waking you up than a seizure.
Well, you know what?
Sure.
That is the absolute truth.
And maybe that's
That is the absolute
that's all,
truth.
you know, pets too. That's also
That
a
goes for
oh,
Chris
yeah.
too,
a
because
little bit of a
oh,
Flying fours on me.
he
healing.
wakes
enough
up.
sleep
He
yet.
was waking up continuously with me. That's why he keeps such a record of it. You know.
I mean, do you have any message you'd like to say to anyone in the medical field that's secretly listening to us?
Well,
Give them a little piece of your mind,
I
just
think-
just as a first-hand experienced person. Just give them some advice maybe they can follow.
Well, I think that epilepsy is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. And probably for a million people, it's difficult in a million different ways.
Absolutely.
But I think that medical marijuana has got to seriously be tested for all reasons, you know, because for me it was the big wow. I can't spell wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
I really can't. I can't say for every reason. I don't know. Every night I did not sleep. Every pill I don't take. You know.
Well, it's fucking awesome.
I don't know.
And it
Every
must
birthday I
You must be
love more.
prolonging your life by taking you off
Yeah.
those pills. Yep.
They really, really got to start testing.
Yeah.
Be open to it.
Be open to it, exactly. And I want to hear doctors say, I don't want to hear that they can't say because, you know, they're on that, keeping that, you know, just in the curtain. You want to know if you want to share it with them, you want to tell them everything.
Right.
You
Because
want to
if
hear
it's
their
working,
feedback. You
Right.
want that
Right.
feedback.
You need
Yeah.
honesty to
You know,
get
you want that
progress.
You do.
And if you ignore the honesty, then what are you building your science off of?
Exactly. And the media is, I don't know, they're so funny. Like,
oh.
like
That's money too.
oh
so.
come on,
That
they're
was-
so funny.
Tell us what you think about the media. I want to hear.
Well, this is
Is
us now, so
No,
let's
there's-
combat. We are the media
Yeah,
now.
this is a media platform.
So
I know it.
this is us trying to fight that
Balance
negative.
the system. Balance it out.
Checks and balances.
we're just
Checks
bringing
and
the
balance.
real cannabis
I know.
life.
What do you think
To
about the
you.
media? Tell them they're
I
assholes.
think people ought to not burn other people's cars down.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know, be nice.
Stop following hurricanes.
Yeah, right.
Once in a while.
4 weeks
People
like
ought to not buy so
hurricanes,
much
like,
ice cream when they expect a hurricane and went into the market. There
ah.
wasn't one pint of ice cream left in the
That's all.
market.
It's in my refrigerator.
Oh my gosh, people are so bad.
You hear that?
Oh, this
Oh,
world,
funny.
the
Hurricane,
world is around
don't
me
buy
right now.
ice cream.
Every giggles.
All the ice cream was going to the market. I went, how funny.
Oh man.
Well,
Well, if we're gonna lose our house, at least we got some ice cream.
Chris, would you like to give a final word on to how you've been aside, Val the whole time, and you've been able to see it.
11 years now, and the first 5 years she had that VNS device that we talked about. It was not set at a setting. The battery wasn't set, and they finally figured it out. That helps with her seizures, but as we learned what that did, and meeting Joe, it's 180.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She still has these nighttime seizures. They're scary sometimes.
Yeah, 'cause you gotta get up and kinda-
She hops up and she's in a sleepwalk. It's very, very scary.
Yeah. Because you can't wake them up.
Very scary.
You can't really wake her up because you don't know what.
Well, I don't scare her when she comes up out
Right,
of sleep.
exactly.
I just follow her around.
Yeah,
I got my
just in
arms on her
case, 'cause,
shoulders.
yeah.
Sometimes she might want
Just
to go
fall.
to the bathroom
Yeah.
and that, but she's
Yep.
It's really.
No, and you're a saint for that's that's real a lot.
I just saw
That's
the
a lot to.
medication over these years. Like,
Dedication.
and that's what I told her when I first met her. You got to get off some of this because we noticed she smoked a little back then,
Yeah.
and
18 to
then
24
we
pills
started
a
coming
day.
off all the meds.
Oh, the detox off of that too.
15 pills
Jeez.
Yeah.
since I first met her,
It's
and
nuts.
that's I don't know, just a total 180.
Oh, that's
I love her.
that's
She's
good.
the best.
That's
I
good.
love you.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, we think, over the years, and I even say that to her, the doctors do help, but, if they're honest with you, we appreciate that. You need more
Oh yeah, absolutely.
getting
honesty.
better.
They get scared when they see her have a seizure and she's at the neurologist's office, you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
They're getting better.
All my doctors have witnessed me have a seizure. That's how frequently it was happening. It happened. I just went through some chiropractic care because I was recently in a car accident a few months back. And even in the short half hour that I'm at chiropractic care, the staff there in the last 3 months has seen me have 3 seizures. So that was more or less because I was under the trauma of the car accident. I actually had a few more seizures in those few weeks.
Right.
It
So
was a
some-
traumatic event.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I probably wouldn't even have had those so frequently.
Mhm.
Right.
A few more. Anyways, not so many. Excuse me. I would have probably had a
You-
few less.
Right.
So imagine the traumatic experience with no cannabis.
30.
If you weren't on cannabis
Right,
at all,
right,
it, would
right,
be,
right.
it could be really intense,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Could still be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you might
We
you
had-
We
might
wouldn't be talking to you
We
right
had
now.
a calendar of about 1 month, I think, over like 45
Oh wow.
at one time before any of this cannabis.
Mm.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
17 hours, I've been around and
Becky-
catch it.
I'm just glad to get the
Literally,
story out
Chris
there.
would run and have his arms like out like you were gonna hug somebody, and catch me under my armpits.
Mm.
You know,
Look at her eyes. And
Yeah.
Flutter
go okay, honey.
I know.
Right.
And then the next day, be like, "Oh, my back's killing me. I grabbed you. Do you remember?"
Oh man.
And I went, "No. Oh, really? This is what happened." And
That's scary.
Well, I had
tell
a,
me what happened. You know.
I had a buddy, like I was telling you off air before. One day it was snowing out, and he got out of the car. We all got out of the car, and he just fucking fell. Right, luckily, right into the snowbank, and he like seizured out for a second, and then he popped right back up, like nothing happened. I didn't say nothing, and we were young. At
How
this
old?
po- I think we might have been 20,
Mm.
maybe younger. I had no idea what happened. It blew my mind. And then my other buddy had one. We were all smoking, and he went to go leave. He gave all of us daps, and he turned around and he just doom, fell, banged his head on the radiator. My buddy got right up, ran into the room, grabbed a glass of water, come back in and splashed it on his face. The kid looked up at us like this off the ground, just his head, lifted his head, and he went, I hit my head. Boom, went right back out.
Oh.
And I got up, I put him on his back and
Oh,
held him
man.
there, and he kind of did a couple little twitches and he come right back to it, and he's like, I'm good. And oh my god, it's just so heart-wrenching, the
I've
feeling.
only
It's-
seen one person, and only once seen a person have a seizure, and it began from a panic attack or an anxiety attack. Only once. It was a long time ago now. It was at least probably close to 15, 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kid started having it was either a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and nearly just hit the driveway and started having a seizure. And I never saw something so oh
Yeah, it's crazy.
wow.
When you see
I
the
went,
body
"Is that what
violently
happens?"
reacting like
'Cause
that.
I was with somebody who had seen me have a seizure. I went, "Is that what happens?" And they said, "No, it doesn't look like that." And I went, "Oh, okay. It looks entirely different, but It was the first, actually only once I've seen somebody have a seizure. That was it. But once was enough.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot.
Once
of
was
them.
enough. So
I've seen a few,
Let me
but
tell
ya.
my niece was like that. The
Oh,
little kid
crazy.
one was.
I've
freaking
seen a
scary.
few. I've seen a few.
yeah.
I've also
Oh.
heard of a few, you know, like I said, as soon as they put the tincture, a drop or two, and it stop it right in its tracks.
We'll have to get some tincture
Yeah.
and see if the tincture
It
will
was
do something. Maybe
If you're having
the tincture might prevent that extra one or two,
two drops
that you were having,
as soon as like that,
or might even
Well,
eliminate it down to that
tomorrow,
one or
like-
zero.
No, no,
or
that's-
if
after.
she's having one,
I'll give it a try.
Because it could
Why
even be
she's
a
having
further
it.
preventative.
it's just 2 drops.
It's
Yeah,
tough,
what I'm
it
saying
is.
It's tough because I know what that VNS device will snap her out if she's awake. Now,
Right.
if she's sleeping.
But-
If I'm
it's-
sleeping, he doesn't even
that's
use
tough.
Right, but maybe if we just start
Really,
using
really
the
tough.
tinctures
Right
as a
before you go to
preventative.
bed or something,
Yeah.
you know.
it. Oh, I got you.
Yep.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, then
Because-
you could even eliminate this one.
There you go.
Right.
Oh,
Because
knock it off the
Because that stuff will knock you right out till the next morning.
and we haven't
Oh,
really
yes.
tested with that, you know. So
It'll let your brain
that's what I
rest.
mean. Like
it'll
we're
let
so we're so far from being done testing. We've just started and we've already knocked out all these fucking pills,
Right.
and we haven't even really started diving into specific strain cultivars and actual, you know, concentrates that we can start giving.
Right.
Because you know, there's only so much I can do. You know,
Of
we're trying to do a
course,
little bit at a
of
time
course,
here,
right,
and we're
right.
getting
Yeah.
a lot of
Can I
gains.
make
So
a suggestion? What was
Definitely.
that? Blueberry or the cheesecake thing? You'll love that. The edible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, edibles at night too, you know. But I like the tincture. It seems to be a little bit more quicker deliverance to the system.
Is it?
Yeah, it'll last. I think it'll last a little longer, and you know, you'll be able to dose it out better.
Do you know what the
Where-
tincture is?
Yes. Yes.
I have some. I'll bring it. I'll give it to him because I'm not gonna use it, so you can have it. It's too fucking. It's with the droppers. And
Yep.
everything.
Yep. What do you want?
I believe it's CBD, so you can try a lot of it at night. And see, you know, if she does not wake up sleepwalking anymore, you know what I mean? Because it might just put her brain right to sleep. You know,
Yeah.
Mm.
you never know. I'm no doctor. I just try and think of how the
Yeah,
brain
right.
works and how this stuff works. You know, I'm not any kind of rocket science guy or whatever, but I have somewhat of a brain. You know, it's some way to start. You know,
Sure.
Well, we you know
Absolutely. Go
we
try it.
we have this information. It's if you're able to, I think in some cases, of course, safely encouraged to find maybe a patient and a doctor that's actually willing to actually start jotting down. Because at the end of the day, we could have all this information, but if we actually don't have it within the normal white papers, journals, the way it's actually normal written like that, and for other doctors to actually research it and actually try to do the same thing they do as pills, but of course the plant is much safer. Wait on the idea and really get more, like you're talking about, more information, so we can actually get some honest medical science and honest data about this stuff.
Mhm.
why don't we do it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not just us.
We don't have to be doctors,
No,
but it's easy for you to jot down whatever. You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah.
Document
I'm
it.
talking about beyond that point. I'm talking about that we're doing that, right? And there's people out there that are currently doing that. And what I'm saying is for
Well, I mean, like,
as many
yeah.
people as other possible to find out there, find a doctor
Well, that's what I'm saying,
work
yeah.
like that, find a patient and see.
Also, help find those doctors.
Right, and try to isolate these cannabinoids.
Give them
113
the
currently,
information.
maybe more possibly,
Right.
to really find which ones help these people out. Because if we continue to wait on the government to do it, it's going to take 3 times as long as we actually need it. And there's too many people out there that actually
Yeah.
need this.
Well, because they're not informed.
Well, this is why we do it.
And if we inform them,
And I'm telling you,
and we can get them on board.
it's called white papers. It's all about the straight information. This is what's actually researched. This is what other scholars continue, and
That's
this
what
how,
they're continuing to research,
this is what they'll be able to just Google, and then the white papers like that, and other doctors. It all ends up getting fed into a bigger system. But if it's not there,
You got to start at
then nobody knows. You know,
outward,
maybe a
you
few,
know?
Yeah.
a group of people might know. Like
The
we
people
know
on the
this is what works.
outside,
But
really
the
the
point
big
is to
person,
get out to get everybody
you know,
know.
the-
Stop
You
waiting
gotta
for
go
the
at
government to do it.
Right? There's a
Get out
certain
there,
ladder
find
you gotta
somebody, a
walk.
patient, find a doctor. You guys, you know, I mean,
we
we
should
can.
start with someone
we're
like
going
you,
to.
and then get to your doctor and say, listen, this is what I've been doing. I haven't had a seizure in this long. You know, can we start documenting this? You know, I'm kind of doing it, but I want you to be informed. You know, get them informed.
Get them informed.
Well, give them all the information that we know that
Right.
you're learning from people like
Right.
Joe and
Ask them what's the information, like, you know, you need to like help you understand what's actually going on, because that's all they really need. They need something to they can actually understand. For all the stuff that they know, all the stuff that they've ever been taught, that's what they know.
I
And then
know,
besides that, they got to research the rest of it.
It's like a spreadsheet, like the
I think the Mass one is, you know, good
put
because
everything
they're
on
big
top,
center
and
for
then
medical
fill
stuff.
in at every appointment.
Massachusetts
like,
is a
how
big
this,
center
this, and
for
this
medical
go.
stuff.
Yep.
Research.
You know, and then
Stole the neurology.
and also like
just share the
the
information.
the actual testing of the brains, seeing the waves, you know, that not so far as to getting into, you know, the subdermal like you were talking about,
Right.
but just
no, but
the
I mean,
top.
if there was like a
The-
certain
the little helmet that they can
criteria
put on
that
you.
you
Right.
could share,
Even a
Right.
basic.
and then
Yes, yeah, just the basic thing.
Right.
Half a head shit.
Before and after you smoke, but you have it on while you're not
They can
medicated,
definitely do those
and then
MRIs.
you take the
So this is what-
medication and still
More
keep
than
it
likely,
going
of course,
see.
the number one thing that they probably end up running into is like, well, that's going to cost X amount of dollars, right?
oh, definitely.
And you know, with insurance, we can't pose that kind of, you know,
Well, right.
like that.
Well-
so this is where we
Oh,
can
you
end up
wanna
also
talk about
doing
politics?
fundraisers
Right.
to actually
Yes.
just do
Right.
these. It's like, you know what, this money is going to get these tests because this is what it costs.
You would need a private investor because they're not going to give any grants.
Cool.
Right, yeah. And
Go
that's
fund
what
me.
the whole thing's gonna have to
It's
be.
specific on that, the cost, how much it's going to cost, for
Right.
what reasons, who are the people involved, blah blah
Right.
blah, the doctors, so on and so forth.
We can do it
X amount of dollars,
ourselves.
boom, done.
Subcool does it all the time. He gets donations from the weed nerds, and he'll put, you know,
If
for
you
this
pay for
certain
it,
person,
They'll do it.
something
this is
happens to him
America.
that financially
Politics,
da da da, and
This
he'll
is
get
America.
$1,200.
You pull out the money, they'll do
Yeah.
it. I
It
don't care
goes all
what. I
right,
don't care
you
what
know.
politics you're in.
This university's going to
Oh,
be better
no,
than that
it's-
university.
Right,
This
right.
Last 40 years, I
politicians,
know what they've
yeah,
been like
definitely.
from the first up.
Well, and it's just like us. I'm gonna
Yeah,
think
well,
my medicine that I grow is better than the next person.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, but
But that's what
you
we got
gotta have
to
an
talk about.
open mind about it.
Right, but until there's a general consensus, and that's what we really want trying to reach. Like,
Right.
there's a general consensus for specific ailments or illnesses that you know people are dealing with that
Oh,
this actually
definitely.
does benefit.
Yeah.
I think that's what we want, and that's what we deserve. A list of what this actually does, so we can stop guessing.
I don't
actually
think-
know.
Honestly, I don't think it. Well, not that because I can be certain, but I'm certain that if there was a certain, let's say, let's call it a spreadsheet, and you
Right.
had some information that you absolutely needed, and the neurologist or neurosurgeon or whatever person, the medical person, and you being the medical person, had a certain criteria that you had to fill in on a spreadsheet. Me being the patient, you know, I want to be best.
I would comply.
You need the best. You need the best. If there was something that you shared, that's what the patient wants.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
If the
and that's
medical,
what you both want.
if one of
you
your
know?
if one of your medical professionals ever reached out and needed something from me, I would comply in a heartbeat.
I think that
Right.
that's what everybody.
That's what we.
I wish
That's it.
that's what everybody would want. You
Right.
know.
It's just on, and end up being on politics and
Oh.
money. Insurance companies that cover the doctors won't allow them to do it because
dream,
it's still fishy.
You
So
hear what they say about baby? I hear about this. Babies with epilepsy and oil. I hear so.
That's what
I
that's
hear
what
it in the
tinctures.
newspaper. I hear it on
Tinctures.
talk
That's-
shows. I
Yeah.
hear it
Yeah.
on Yahoo. I
Yeah.
hear it on. Oh, I hear it all over the place. How great it is doing for babies. I say I think that one is a lot a day. I hear some babies.
Yeah.
I have
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a day.
Yeah. It's
And
And
amazing.
the oil is doing wonders for them.
Yeah.
And families have to pick up their whole
are
life
picking
and
up
move
their lives and
across the
moving.
country.
Yeah,
because
to
it's-
Colorado or
right.
Washington.
So how about the ones that don't make it?
Or
You
can't.
guys- Because there are
can't.
plenty that what happens is that because they're trying to treat their kid, they end up taking them away
Yeah.
and end up putting them on the list of medications
Yep.
to try to deal with the thing that was being taken care of by the cannabis. And I mean, there's a good long list of people through this country that have lost their kid because of that. Because
the doctors actually take them away. They
right.
call DSS.
But, oh, that's not you're not a
or
professional,
whatever.
and there's no proof that blah blah. So
Yep.
this and that. But yeah, but I know because my kid isn't. Like it's sad.
And now
it's
you're
sad.
looked at as a criminal in the community.
But you know
Because we
we.
fucking give you kid
It's
drugs.
inappropriate.
But you know what? We're putting the
getting
data
past
together.
that. Yeah, we're putting.
We're not waiting
the
anymore.
data's out there.
We're gonna, but we wanted the common knowledge.
And
we
with
need
the
to
social
that
media
confirmation.
now, you can't close it and put it in a closed file.
It's
and
just
lock it
about
up,
it's just
'cause
about
it's there.
the doctor's side, all that shit. I mean, listen to this. This happened, I think, 2 days ago. Dr. Oz,
Sorry.
Okay.
when it was on Fox News.
Oh, I think I heard this. Tell me,
always
because
got
I probably
Fox
only
News
saw a
on.
piece of it.
So this
I'm
was
later I only heard maybe a
so
little
Dr.
bit.
Oz, right?
I hate the news.
They were talking about the drugs and blah blah, and then they got into opioids. He said, but it said there's one last thing I want to say is there's opioid crisis is happening, blah blah, and then with marijuana, they always say that it's like an entrance, gateway drug. It's like, but in reality, it's not. It's an exit drug.
Yes, the gateway
Yo,
off of
the guy kind of like a guy went on the couch, opened his eyes real big. It's like, well, so thank you for coming out, and like cut the segment quick, like.
Yep. Yeah.
Can't be having that on TV, Doctor. So there's some doctors that are saying, but it's just we just need
Sanjay
more
Gupta.
information. Right? We just need more information. So this is where we continue with this.
Exactly. I think they're afraid.
Oh,
Right.
They're always
So-
looking at some type of malpractice. Who knows? I don't know.
Before I can beer,
We
sit
tell 'em all
down
the
and
time,
just
hey,
enjoy a
be
slice of
honest.
pizza like I am now with a half a beer.
Oh,
This would mean possibly a night of torturous seizures. Like, I always just thought I would never live, like, not that I would never live a normal life, but it wasn't really a normal
Right,
life,
right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was always like a huge concern of this, a huge concern about that. It always felt like there was going to be like another barrier or something coming, like something was going to just get in the way, but it was always like a headache about, especially in my teen years. I was like, like frustration.
And now you have a slice of the beer.
Now I'm
Slice of the
married
beer.
and I'm
Yeah.
with my honey and
Nice.
everything's going very well, and I have
me
to
down,
thank Joe. I
Nice.
really do.
Well,
We want to thank you for coming out, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you're able to have sit here, with the joint committee
Feeling
in one
great.
session, have smack you little joints around and have your slice and beer and seizure free, be able
Yeah.
to tell us about your
Almost there.
life journey up to this point. I'm glad that it's going much better now. I want to thank your husband too for also coming out. We really, really appreciate your tale and the fact that we got it now, and we're going to, other people can actually hear you.
Yeah, this
I
is-
hope it inspires, more research and more people to actually,
I wish for it. I
yeah.
really do. I hope that everybody is open to it. I really do. I hope that people are open to it, and I hope that they're the ones that just have their card and smoke like crazy. Well, then, be responsible. Just don't
don't ruin it for everyone.
ruin
Yeah.
it for everybody.
don't ruin it for the people that need it. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So from the Joint Committee, my name is Lupino.
Mr. Bond 420.
East Coaster Dam.
This is this session. Patient. Val. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
That was cool.
End of session. The Joint Committee thanks you for listening.